Assalamu alaikum, Kemcho, Ahlan wa Sahlan, how are you all today? Welcome to another episode of English Learning Skills with yours truly, SALEH. Assalamu alaikum, Kemcho, welcome to another episode of English Learning Skills with yours truly, SALEH. And in this episode, we're going to be looking at English speaking. So if you joined us last time, you will have noticed how we discussed that brief outline of what IELTS is. And then I mentioned to you guys that I will be giving a breakdown of all the different subjects and all the different topics and all the different content that will help you improve your English learning skills, especially for the International English Language Testing System, which is known as IELTS. So in today's episode, we look at the speaking element. Now, what we've got is we've got some slides for you. The first slide you'll see on the screen has come up, which says keep talking. So before we go on to that slide, I'm just going to briefly mention that how the examiner will expect you to complete. So the IELTS speaking element is in three parts. You've got part 1, part 2 and part 3. Now whether it's academic or general, it is split up into three parts, and you'll be tested, I'm just looking at my notes here, that you'll be tested on fluency, grammar and vocabulary. So in relation to the first slide, you can see it says keep talking. What do we mean by keep talking? Well, sometimes you hear me, we have what's called breaks where we go we all do it, it's quite natural, but try and practice as much as you can where you're keep talking, and you're going through each of the sub. If you have cue cards, so I always encourage my students that please keep some cue cards so you can look down, just like I'm looking down at my notes just now, and then you can carry on talking and keeping the conversation going. Now we're just going to move over to the second slide, which is the most important slide, which is about idioms. So you should see that come up on the screen any moment. Yep, okay, so what are these fancy pictures that you can see? So idiom, what is an idiom? Most students always ask different questions on idiom. Idiom basically is a phrase that we use as figuratively speaking. So it's a sentence or expression. So for example, you might hear a lot of people saying it's raining cats and dogs today. So what does that mean? Does that mean that it's actually raining cats and dogs? No, it just means it's raining very, very heavily. You've got many other idioms. I'm just going to give you some examples. So you've got the first one I mentioned to you, and then you've got things that are not commonly said, like hit the hay. Sorry guys, I have to hit the hay now. What does hit the hay now mean? Most parts of like the northeast of England, we call them the Geordies. The Geordies usually use this expression, which is hit the hay. It means that they have to go down for a lie down, or they have to go down for some sleep. Another one is a Newcastle expression, which is up in the air. Now we use it in the north quite a lot, where we say, did you ever figure out those plans? And we'll say, no, they're up in the air at the moment. What does that mean is, it means that the plans are not concrete, or they're not set to stone. Yeah, so they're just up in the air, so meaning that they're not confirmed. The third one is stabbed in the back. Or you've just stabbed me in the back, or I'm going to stab you in the back. What does that mean? Does that mean that somebody's going to get a knife and stab you in the back? Of course not. What that basically means is that somebody that's deliberately done something wrong to that person, or deliberately done something to upset that person or affect that person. So there's three expressions. So you can either do something to somebody that affects them emotionally or psychologically, or you can actually physically hurt somebody. Then it says it takes two to tango. Now this is my favorite one. So if you meet somebody that's going behind somebody's back or sneaking around or having a secret girlfriend, and you're blaming the other person, like most time the family will always blame that, oh, it's the girl, she came onto him, or it's the guy that came onto the girl. But the expression is it takes two to tango. It takes two people to have a relationship. The other one is kill two birds with one stone. So what do we mean by killing two birds? Are we going to go out killing birds? Of course not. We're actually basically meaning that we're going to get two tasks completed by doing one action. So or doing one action that helps two parties, for example. So there's lots and lots. Like it's going to be a piece of cake. So we'll cover a couple more, and then we'll go on to the next slide. So the other one is a piece of cake. So again, it's an idiom, and the piece of cake is easy. So sometimes we'll say, oh, it's a piece of cake. That means that it's a very, very easy task. The last one I'm going to talk about is it's going to cost an arm and a leg. So does that mean we're going to go and sell an arm and a leg? Of course not. It's going to cost an arm and a leg. Basically means it's going to be very, very expensive. So these are kind of things that you can bring into your conversation. So it just creates a natural flow. Why do we use idioms? Because it just shows that you have a good understanding of the English grammar or the English language or the English culture. Because what the examiner is looking at is how much research you've done when you're talking about your certain topics. So we're going to go on to the slide 3, which is don't read every sentence. What does that mean? It means that, as you can see, I'm looking down at my notes here. So I'm having a glance and I'm looking at yourselves. So I'm not going to read every word, every sentence, because if I was, then I'd be like this. Look, a phrase or an expression that typically presents a figurative, non-literal meaning attached to the phone. Now, that looks very, very monotone. Do you notice how my focus, my attention was actually at the piece of paper? What you can do is just do glances. So you have a quick glance down and say that let's start with the paragraph. So we can basically have cue cards where you can hold them up to yourself and you're having a quick glance and you're looking back at the examiner. And try not to be a robot. Like sometimes we get into like thing where you're looking and you're talking like a robot, where you are saying every sentence and every phrase as it. Can you see how robotic that sounds? Try and have a natural flow when you're speaking with the examiner. The next slide we're going to go on to is using linking words. So what are linking words? Linking words are saying, for example, on one hand you've got such thing, such a thing, such a thing. On the other hand you've got such a thing, such a thing. Yeah, this or that. These are linking words. Yeah. How can we use them? So we use linking words for comparison. So we're going to use them for comparing or doing a comparison of some such. Can you see my hand movements? They're saying this or that. Yeah, this way or that way, here or there, or there. So you're using different linking words for that. The next tip we're going to give you is don't be afraid of mistakes. So how do we justify mistakes? One of the things, and I've just had a question pop up and somebody's just tried giving me a call as well. One of the things that, so I'll answer this question from one of my students, Mohsin. Okay, but the student is asking, how do we prepare for a certain level? Why practice for just 5.5? Most of the students, you've got it into your heads that and your belief system is that I'm not going to overachieve, I'm just going to go for level 5.5. So we're going to talk about that just after a short break. So let's go over for a short break. Welcome back, guys. We just had a short break, and before the break, we were just going through the 5 different tips. So we've had a couple of questions that have popped up, and I did promise my students that when the questions do come, I will answer the questions live while we're on air. And the question has come from Akbar, who's in Pakistan at the moment. So Akbar, welcome to the program. And to answer your question on what level should we be practicing for? Well, as I mentioned to a lot of my students, we need to practice for the best level. I'm going to speak a little bit in Urdu now, so some of the people in Pakistan who have asked these questions can have a bit more understanding. देखो जैसे कि मैंने आपको पिछली दफ़ा भी बताया था कि कुछ लोग कहते हैं कि चादर इतनी फैलाओ जितने पैर लंबे हो। मेरा मानना ये है कि भाई लंबी चादर ले आओ, क्योंकि यहाँ पर बिलीफ सिस्टम, और बिलीफ सिस्टम का मतलब ये होता है कि देखो आप अगर ये सोचते हैं कि बस मैं सिर्फ इतना अचीव कर सकता हूँ, फिर आप उतना ही अचीव करेंगे। लेकिन क्यों ना थोड़ी सी और मेहनत, थोड़ी सी और कोशिश करके हम थोड़ा overachieve करें. So what I'm trying to say to these students are, because a lot of the people in India and Pakistan, they always have a belief system. They think that, oh, we just need to try and aim for the easiest option. Now sometimes the easiest option is not the best option. Why don't we just do a little bit more effort, put a little bit more time, put a little bit more commitment, and take pride, and we can overachieve. So to get level, I think most of the students who I've spoken to have got every opportunity and every they have it in them to achieve level 6, level 7, level 8, even the hardest one, level 9. Okay, that's going to be a bit of an ask, but it is very, very easily achievable if you put the right effort in, because the examiner knows that English is not your first language. Especially the international students or anybody looking to come and live in the UK, they know that it's not your first language. So my advice to you, Akbar Bhai, or anybody else that's listening, is that put a bit more effort in, do a lot more revision, do a lot more practice, and I'm sure you should easily be able to achieve level 6.5 to 7. We did go through the band score last time, but what we'll do is we'll give you a recap of the band score a little bit later. What I want to encourage at this point is a lot of the students, guys, after Ramadan, so from next week, we're going to be fasting for the month of Ramadan, which is for 30 days. So we won't be bringing any more programs until after Ramadan. But when we do come back after Ramadan, I'm going to make the show interactive, where you can ring in. Now I know I've got already 7 or 8 students that said they will join me live on show from South Africa, from India, from Pakistan, and from Dubai, the Middle East. It'd be really, really good if some of the new students, so I'm going to mention some new students that enrolled this week. So the guys from Iran, Mr. Mohsin, Mr. Akbar, and Mr. Ali. So welcome you guys, and I know that you're going to be watching this program even if you're not watching already. So I just want to say hello and welcome to the show. Also, guys, it's a speaking element. Don't worry about, because most of the guys are able to speak English. That's why you've enrolled to start at a university or look at coming to the UK. The ones that we will give more time to and more focus to will be the reading and writing, because the speaking and listening is quite easy. It's the reading and writing that most people lose marks on. But hopefully, inshallah, thanks to our executive producer Naseem Khan, who's given us this lovely platform to provide for the community, we shall be able to cover a lot of the skills and the tips and stuff that you require. So let's move on to our IELTS speaking tips. So the first green slide that you can see is talking about before the exam. So what do you have to do before the exam? Just like I mentioned before, keep practicing and keep listening. So what you need to do is try and find yourself a partner or a buddy that can help you with your practicing. Use natural spoken English. I know that most just mentioned before that English is not your first language, so you have to just use the natural spoken English. Correct yourself. Now the slide that you can see on the screen is slide 2. Let's just go back a slide, please, if possible. Yeah. So English speaking. Yeah. So correct yourself in case of a mistake. Just now I just made a quick mistake, so what I've done is I've corrected myself. So that was a really good example. So because these things do happen while you're doing something like this is a live show at the moment, so we do try to make some mistakes which we have to try and rectify while we. So you're going to be live in front of the examiner, and always remember, guys, he doesn't know what you're going to say, so there's no real right or wrong. You can easily rectify a mistake that you make. Always try and extend your answer as well. Give more clarity, give more detail. So if you're talking about a certain subject, a certain topic, now the topics we will do after Ramadan, so we'll go through each topic that you can do, and using vocabulary, like we keep mentioning to you on all the episodes that you've seen so far, that use the correct vocabulary and listen to the grammar of the questions. So now we're going to move over to the second slide. So you're going to have to give a full answer. So I'm just looking down at my notes. What do I mean by giving a full answer? So say, for example, the examiner says to you, asks you that which town do you live in? You can't just say Blackburn, because that's just a one-word answer. You have to say, oh, I live in a town called Blackburn. It's located in Lancashire, which is in the north of England. That is a complete answer. So do you notice how I gave a location, which area it is in, and where in which part of the country it's in? Also, you have to speak clearly and don't worry about your accent. I just kept mentioning that to you. We know that we're going to have accents. Every single country, every single student I speak to across the world, they all have their own individual accents. Even in England, we have different accents of different regions. So don't worry about using your accent. Using descriptive words. So what do we mean by descriptive words? We're looking at adjectives. So you'll know about adjectives. You have to use words that describe something. So again, when we're looking at the topics, we will give great examples and give you some tips when we look at the individual topics. The last few things is like speaking up and don't use slang. What do we mean by slang? Well, we covered certain things like idioms. So it's good to use idioms, but don't use slang language. So again, we will talk about vocabulary and correcting vocabulary in future programs. Also, we've got English names of words which are in another language. Okay, again, that part we'll cover in another topic, because certain things have certain meanings, and we can look at it depending on what subject and topic that you've taken. And also try and stay on topic. Now you'll notice sometimes when I'm this natural, we do this as human beings, we sometimes go off topic. So you may have noticed that I've been talking about one thing. I know that when I've had feedback from some previous shows, a lot of the guys say that, oh, you tend to go off topic. This naturally does happen. So always try and recompose and get back to the topic. So let's just move over to slide 3. So linking words. Remember I mentioned to you earlier on that we will look at linking words. What are linking words? So if you look at adding more information, so you can give and also as well. Another reason is, so if you're looking at the slide now, you've got it there. So you've got time phrases as well. And how, so we're talking about now, at the moment, so using language like that, at present, right now, these days. So you can say that these days the coronavirus situation is not improving. There's lots of uncertainty. Nowadays, most people tend to stay indoors. Can you see how I brought in the word nowadays? In the past, people were able to freely move around the town, freely move around amongst friends, amongst family. Yeah, before this used to happen, then this happened. Years ago, it was like this. Can you see you can bring all these time phrases into your conversation? So you can talk about at the moment, what was happening before, what was happening after, what. And you can talk about, you can make predictions about the future that, oh, my prediction is, or I think that with the current situation, things may improve, but I think normality is far, far away. So you can have a conversation based on any topic. And the last slide before we end the show today is common questions. So what are the common questions? Now, again, another question has popped up that about topics. Listen, guys, don't worry. We will, after Ramadan, inshallah, we will do the topics separately, because it's a very, very a long subject to talk about, and so that will be a program of its own. And it would be very, very good if you guys took part in that program. So maybe the two episodes that we film, it will be live. So it'll be really, really good that if you want to participate, you've got my number. So please contact me, and we can do a live call. So wherever you are, whether you are sat in Pakistan or whether you're sat in anywhere in the world, you'll be able to give us a call, and we'll put you on live, and we'll have a conversation. So it'll give you an opportunity to have some practice and talk to me. I'm not scary, as you can see, so please don't be nervous. We will have some fun while we're doing this, and the whole idea is that we help you improve your vocabulary and your grammar. So let's get back to the common questions. What do you or don't like most about the areas, and why? So we're looking at, so for example, the examiner will talk to you about, where do you live? Okay, and what do you like about or dislike about the place that you live? What is the area like? So say for example, you're talking about your own village. Now I'm very, very fascinated to learn about different people's culture, living, and how they live their everyday lives, and I take a general interest in that. So what you need to do is go off that kind of ambition, go off that kind of passion, and talk about your town with passion and pride. Give examples. Like you can talk about, he'll ask you, can you tell about interesting places? Well, you can say that the interesting places are such a thing. Like for example, in India, you can talk about, if you live in the Mumbai area, you can say that, oh, we've got a multicultural city, it's bustling, you've got the poor regions, you've got the rich regions, you've got industry, you've got call centers, and you've got religious places of worship, you've got Christian places, Muslim places, Hindu temples. It is such a multicultural and diverse place to live. So you can talk about it in quite detail, how the area has changed. So again, say for example, you're located in Pakistan, you can talk about how before partition what it was like, and after partition what it was like, and how different culture and different things, and what differs, and different things that happen in different cultures, because Pakistan is a very, very fascinating country as well. If you were in Sri Lanka, you can talk about the different things, that it's an island and you're still classed as non-residents of India. You get the NRI status because you're living on an island which is off India. Our students in Bangladesh, you can talk about the different cultures and different festivals that you have. So there's lots of different things that you can answer in question types. Now, where you come from and your hometown. Now, the reason that I brought this on the slide is, and we talk about it today, is the examiner will give quite good focus on this, and you will get given marks on how you answer. So what you need to do is practice with your family, friends, or whatever, the common question types, which are going to be where you are, your hometown, where you live, what you like about your hometown, any interesting points, places of interest, any cultural things that take place, any carnivals. In the UK, we used to have lots of carnivals that used to take place in the summer. So again, it'd be very, very interesting to explain to somebody what kind of things take place. So thank you very much, students, for joining us today. I would like to thank our executive producer, Naseem Khan. Thank you very much, Naseem Bhai, for giving us this opportunity. It's a fantastic program. We're getting lots and lots of viewers. We're getting lots and lots of interaction. So to help this video reach as many people, please do like and share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much for joining us today. And on behalf of the team at UCTV, we wish all our viewers a happy Ramadan, and we will look forward to seeing you after Eid. So thank you very much for joining us today. Have a great day, guys.